Even before I started stitching Just One More Page by Night Spirit Studios, I was formulating the idea of finishing it into a Kindle sleeve because it's perfect for that. It needed to be that more than it needed to hang on my wall or be a bag for something else. So I am going to show you how I finished it into a Kindle sleeve. This is a super quick project. I wasn't watching the clock, but I don't think it took me more than an hour. And that's including setting up my sewing machine and filming this. So let's get started. In addition to your stitched piece, you will also need a piece for the back of your bag and a lining fabric for the inside of your bag. There is absolutely no reason why your back and the lining cannot be the same fabric. The backing and your front piece will be 8 by 10 inches, and your lining piece will be 8 by 19 inches. So what I did to make sure that Just One More Page was centered, the stitch piece measures 4.5 inches. So I took my ruler and I measured out about 2 inches from each side, the stitching on each side. Your measurements for this bag have to be consistent. They don't have to be exact. So if you wind up with an extra 1/4 inch on each side, that is fine. I did put it a little closer to the bottom than the top just because that was how I thought I wanted it positioned for no particular reason. Sometimes I go with my hunches. Now our first step is going to be to sew these two pieces together into one panel. This is directional fabric. I want my chandeliers to be right side up on the back of my bag, so I will put these right sides together and make sure that they are both facing up in the same direction, and then I'm going to go sew this with a 1/4 inch seam. I've sewn my two pieces together with a 1/4 inch seam along the bottom edge. This is the point where you double check that your fabrics are going the right direction. This one is facing up. On the back side, this will face up when I fold it in half. I have my contrasting piece of lining fabric. It is 8 by 20 inches-ish. I just matched it to the front because these measurements, like I said, they're not super critical. I like to fill my Kindle sleeves with batting, so I'm using batting that was left over from a quilting project. You don't absolutely have to have batting. I think it adds a little more padding and stability. They do sell it by the yard at Joann's and the other craft stores, or if you have a friend or a family member who quilts, give them a call and ask them if they've got scraps of batting, because a lot of quilters tend to wind up with small pieces that are perfect for finishing cross-stitch projects, and not everybody is as cheap as I am and pieces it together to make baby quilts, so they may just be throwing it away, or they may be willing to help you out. Now we're going to layer our pieces to sew them. Batting goes on the bottom. Then goes your lining fabric with the right side up. I've also heard the right side lately a lot described as the pretty side. You want it facing up, and you want your front panel facing down, so right sides together. Match up all your edges, which I cannot do holding my camera one-handed, and then we are going to sew around the outside of this a 1/4 inch from the edge all the way around, except for about a 4-inch gap here on the side that we will use to turn it right side out. I have it all sewn together except for that 4-inch gap we left for turning. I'm going to turn it right side out so that the batting is inside and the fabric of the front and the lining are exposed. Get everything all flattened out and tugged into place. You can use an unsharpened pencil or your fingertip to make sure all of your corners are turned out neatly. If you're feeling super industrious and like doing it properly, this would be the stage where you might want to touch it up with your iron. The open space that we used for turning, you can either whip stitch that by hand, or because it's going to be hidden in a seam, I'll just take my machine and run a quick little stitch down there to keep everything locked neatly in place. Then we're going to fold it in half with the back matched up with the front and do a 1/4 inch seam down each long side. It's been a long time since I sewed one of these, so I forgot just how bulky these side seams are. Go slowly. You might need to give your machine a little guidance to get over the beginning here, but just go slowly, be patient, it will be fine. And now we're going to turn the right side out. And here we have it, my quick and easy Kindle sleeve. I have one of the, whatever the cheapest Kindle they sell is, that's what I've got. I originally came up with these measurements to go with my Kindle Fire, which was a little bit bulkier. So it's not super snug in there. You can adjust the sizing down about 1 inch if you want a tighter fit. I just wanted something to tuck my Kindle in on the headboard that I won't have to struggle to get it in and out of, so this is going to fit my needs perfectly. I'm just tickled. And if you watch my channel, you will know that it's rare that I FFO an object. I don't tend to display my cross stitch. I just enjoy the process of stitching it. But I like this. If anything ever screamed to be a Kindle sleeve, it is just one more page by Night Spirit Studio. I have a couple other Kindle sleeve tutorials over on my blog. Those use applique and not cross stitch. I'll put links to those in the description box below. Let me know if you've ever finished cross stitch into a Kindle sleeve, or if you use your Kindle covers at all, or if you're reckless like I am and just leave it laying there and hope for the best. Mostly this is to make it easier to figure out which one is mine and which one belongs to the kids, because they're all black and they all look absolutely identical until you pick them up to unlock them. Thanks for watching. I'm Michelle. This is my romantic tangle, and I'll be back with you with more videos soon.